Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. So tonight, we're going to talk about the purpose of trials. What is a trial? What is a test? Now, you're all familiar with the test you do in school. What is the purpose of testing you in school? Usually, they want to know how much you know. They want to know how much you learned in the class. And this is why you have a test at the end. But today I'm going to talk about a different kind. I'm going to talk about a different kind of test. And these are the tests we have in life. And some of these are very difficult. So when I say a test or a trial, I mean all of the hardships and difficulties we face in life. All the problems, the hard times, even like calamities, big problems, like maybe a sickness or even death in the family, or poverty, bullying. I mean, there are all kinds of problems and hardships we face in life. And a lot of people do not know how to process that. And today, inshallah, tonight, I'm going to talk about the emotional aspect. Like, they're not able to process it. Like, they ask, why? Why is it happening to me? What have I done to deserve that? So some people react like that. And I'm not blaming them. I'm not judging them. But today, inshallah, we're going to learn how we can cope and how we can process these types of hardships and difficulties and how to face them, because it's going to make us stronger and better when we're able to face trials and deal with them in the right way. One thing I want to mention also in the beginning is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is designing these trials. And what He does, He basically makes it custom fit for us. So everybody is tested in a way that would benefit them. So the test is not there to ruin your life. The test is there to improve your life. And let me give you some examples. So if you are, or you have an issue with jealousy, you're gonna notice that you are tested with that. So you're gonna see your best friend buying a brand new outfit and you cannot afford it. So now your jealousy is being tested. You see more of it, not less. And that's on purpose. You see another friend having a brand new car and you cannot have that car. You see somebody making money and you cannot make money. Now your jealousy is being tested. And you wonder, why can't Allah change the situation around me? Why can't I afford this? Another example, you might be impatient. Many of us are impatient. And you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala testing you with that impatience. All of a sudden you start noticing people around you, they're very slow. If you drive, you notice people always, in front of you. They don't want to move and they don't want to go fast. Allah testing you with that impatience that you have. And a lot of people don't understand it. They don't know how to process it. They think it's out there, something is out there to get them. He's not taking notes, right? If he's taking notes, it's okay. So see what happens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will design the test for you. Okay? And everybody is tested with the thing that they are weak at. If you're weak at something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test you with that weakness. And there's a purpose. There's actually a reason. There's a purpose and there's a benefit from the test. You can think of it as cleansing you from the impurities we have. All of us humans, we have impurities. We have mistakes and flaws. And the test comes to cleanse us, to clear us, to clean us from those imperfections. Now I'm going to mention the ayah which will be on the quiz. All right, so pay attention. I'll mention few important words, keywords, we call them. And I want you to, if you can, to memorize the Arabic. If you're going to talk back there, please either leave or come and join the halaqah, and don't hide behind someone else. And I'm not going to repeat it twice. Thank you. So in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. A very simple ayah, and actually it is a principle that we all should, understand and memorize. This is Surah Al-Ra'd, verse number 11. All right? Al-Ra'd means thunder, and it's verse number 11. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in this verse, I'll be very honest about it. I'm not here to beat you up or critique you, criticize you, or insult you. But I think we should respect everybody else who's trying to be attentive and listen. It's not fair for the other people who are here to learn. But everybody is welcome. And I hope no one is being forced to come here. All right? So I just want to tell you my intention that I'm not here to be mean to anyone. But we need to make sure that everybody is able to listen and benefit. So in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and listen carefully, Allah does not change the situation of people. See, this is our expectation. We want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change our situation. Every dua we make, oh Allah, change this for us, change that for us. But Allah here is telling us, I don't do that. This is my way. This is my principle. It says Allah does not change a situation, any kind of situation you're in, until you change yourself. So that is the rule we have to remember. What should happen first is me trying to change. The test that comes to me is a reminder for me to change. All right? So this is something we have to think about. Anytime we face a situation, a problem, a difficulty, a hardship, think, how can I change? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent me this trial as a message. And I'm going to try my best to change, to become a better person. And this is for me, not against me. So again, this message is, we always want to change the situation, but here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us what? You change. You take the initiative. You be proactive and change. And then everything else will fall together or will come together. And again, I know many people would like the competition to disappear. There are many annoying people around you that you wish they disappear. I know these are wishes. They exist. But they're just wishes. All right? We daydream sometimes. Oh, I wish this man disappears from my life. I wish this person does not exist anymore. But these are all wishes. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again says, I do not do that for anyone. Rather, I want you to change. And that is better for you anyways. Because guess what? Even if that person you hate disappears, someone else will come around. Some other annoying person will come around. All right? So this is why it's not good for you. It's better that you focus on yourself and try and make a change in your life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always has a better plan for you. Sometimes we think we know what we want in life, but in reality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what we need much more. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, I know what I have created. He created us, He knows what we need, what we want. What I'm going to do now, inshallah, I'm going to take you through some examples. The best examples in this regard are the trials of the prophets. Now, sometimes people ask, why do we have to learn about Islam? Why do I have to learn about the prophets? Like Prophet Nuh or Prophet Adam, they came so long ago. Is it even relevant? I mean, we live in the modern age. Everything is different now. We have cars, we have the internet, we have TV, we have games, we have smartphones. And back then, it was all like horses and camels and what have you. So how can I learn? Why are they the role models? Why are they people we look up to? And after all, we have many role models today. We have all the actors and singers and dancers and what have you. And of course, the sports figures and the people we love to follow. Depends if you follow basketball, baseball, or football, whatever kind of game. We have role models, we have heroes. Why do I need to look at these old people, these ancient people? This is one good reason today I'm going to share with you. When you examine the life of these prophets, you're going to see something you do not see in other people. You cannot learn from other people what you're going to learn from these prophets. Let's start with Prophet Adam. Prophet Adam was the first prophet, right? He was the first human we know of. Prophet Adam alayhi salam was tested. Because Prophet Adam started in Jannah, in paradise. If you think you're rich, if your father is a millionaire, Adam had paradise all to himself. You cannot be richer than Adam. He had the entire Jannah for him. But Allah tested him. And He tested him through a tree. And He asked him not to eat from a tree. And initially, Adam failed the test because he ate from the tree. Of course, it's a long story. He was approached by Shaitan and Satan convinced him. We're not going to talk about the story. What is relevant here is the test. Adam alayhi salam, peace be upon him, lost paradise. After failing that test, he lost it all. Again, nowadays we have people who lose money, like they lost all of their investment, they commit suicide. It's true, some people commit suicide. I mean, they lost all of their money, all their stocks, all their investment. They decide to end their lives. Adam alayhi salam lost paradise. But Adam alayhi salam, he realized the mistake and immediately asked for forgiveness, and he took it with a big heart. Like, okay, this is a test, it's a phase. I'll get through it. It's not the end. And look what happened. Adam later became the father of us all. That's a big accomplishment. To be the father of humanity. Not just one tribe or one people or one ethnic group. He was the father of us all. All colors, all languages, all ethnicities, places of origin. Adam is our father. So he was compensated. And he started life on earth, at least our life, human life. Let's take another example. Prophet Yaqub, Jacob, peace be upon him. Prophet Yaqub was tested because his son went missing. You know how hard it is. I mean, sometimes you see those flyers, like a 6-year-old missing, and you feel so bad for them, right? It's like a test you don't wish on anyone, on your enemies even. Like someone missing, especially a young child, a young boy, a young girl. You cannot even imagine what kind of trial the parents are going through, the mom and the dad and the relatives around them. But Prophet Yaqub was tested like that because his son went missing and he had no way to even tell people. Like nowadays, at least we have the media, we have TV. You can put the news on you can put something on TV. You can put flyers. Back then, Prophet Yaqub was by himself. He had no means of knowing where his son, was and what he was going through. In fact, the Quran tells us that Prophet Yaqub kept crying and crying until he went blind. This is how much it affected him. But you know what? At the same time, Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, he never complained to anyone. And in the Quran he said, إِنَّمَا أَشْكُو بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. I only complain to Allah. I express my sadness to Allah. You know, you can cry at night between you and God, no one else. And he never despaired, by the way. He never lost hope. He never despaired. That's another thing. A lot of people, if something happens to you, you're bullied, you despair, you go commit suicide. That's what some people do. Because they cannot handle the emotional aspect. And that's what I'm talking about today. It is the emotional aspect that is very, very hard. And some people cannot process it. And that's why we need the prophets, because in them you see these huge examples. Like people who've gone through so much and such a hardship, yet they were able to pull through it because of their faith, their iman, their belief. And that's what we can learn from the prophets. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Prophet Yusuf was sold into slavery. And it was his own brothers who left him in the ditch, in the well. His own brothers, imagine. Not a stranger. They were the reason for his misery for many years. They abandoned him in a well, and then he was sold into slavery. He became a slave. And then he was convicted for a crime he did not commit, and he ended up in prison. Like trial after trial, trial after trial, imagine. And none of them is minor. We're not talking about a small little, like, oh, I lost my phone. He lost his freedom, all right? And not only he was a servant or a slave after he was free, but also he ended up in prison on top of that. And he almost got killed, by the way. He almost got killed. But at the end, he made it. He pulled through it. And he became the governor of Egypt. He became the treasurer. He became in charge of the treasure of Egypt. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compensated him. He rewarded him because he was patient. And he was able to see through it and persist. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, our prophet, the last prophet, his life was not easy at all. In fact, all his kids died in their youth, except one daughter, Fatima, who survived him. All his other kids died when they were young. One of them died, Ibrahim. One of his kids was Ibrahim. His name was Ibrahim. He died when he was a baby. And the companions could see the prophet shedding tears, crying. Imagine. And they could not understand, like, a prophet crying? Why would you cry? You're like very strong, right? A prophet. You should be like stronger than that. And Prophet Muhammad said, alayhi salam, I'm a human. I have emotions like everybody else. I'm not a stone, I'm not a rock. I have feelings. It's okay to cry. What is not okay is to quit. What is not okay is to lose hope and despair. But Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was tested over and over again. One son after the other, he lost all of his kids. They all died in front of him. Not only that, his own people fought him. And in fact, they drove him out of his land, out of his town. He was driven out of Mecca. His people, his own people rejected him. But later, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had 100,000 followers in his own lifetime, not later. In his own lifetime, in the last year before he died, there was this big pilgrimage, and 100,000 people showed up. All of them believing in Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and loving him. He went from nothing, like not a single follower he had in Mecca at one point. And now he had like 100,000 followers, not to mention all the Muslims who came later. And they loved the Prophet, peace be upon him. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, He said, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We have elevated your mention. Like everybody mentions you. Everybody mentions, every Muslim has to mention Prophet Muhammad. When you pray, you mention his name. When you make adhan, you mention his name. But you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compensated Prophet Muhammad for his hardship and his difficulty. But again, the idea is don't quit. Don't quit too soon. Don't quit on yourself. Keep believing in yourself. Keep the hope, no matter what. And what you're gonna see, and you're gonna really love and appreciate, is the fact that once you pull through it, you're gonna see how much you learned and how much strength you've gained. As we say nowadays, I don't know if I believe in it totally, what does not kill you makes you stronger. All right? Now the hadith. So the hadith actually sums it up all and gives us actually some more clues. What can we do? And what are we supposed to do when we face a trial or a test? Now let's remember that test is not only bad. Even sometimes we are tested with good stuff. Like if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you too much money all of a sudden, that is a test as well. Like what are you going to do with that money? Some people become arrogant, right? If you win the lottery, for example, not that I advocate, participating, but if you win a lottery or something like that, that is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to spend it in a good way or a bad way? So the Prophet, peace be upon him, and that is the hadith of the night, he said, عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. What an amazing thing, the status or the matter of the believer. Like the believer is different. And it's not like, oh, we're better than everybody else. No, you're different because you have something here. Don't act like a non-believer. I mean, a lot of people lose hope and despair because they have nothing to hold on to. They have nothing to cling to. But you have something. So he said, it's an amazing thing what the believer has. He said, everything that happens, listen carefully, everything that happens is good. Or at least you can make it good. Imagine such a power. If you're able to turn everything in your life, everything that you don't like, everything that annoys you, everything that hurts you, if you can turn it around into something good. That's what the Prophet, peace be upon him, is saying here. If you are a believer, you can do that. It's possible. So he said, anything that happens to you can be good. Inna amrahu kullahu lahu khair. So one word I want you to remember is khair. Khair means good. So that's easy. Again, khair means good. So he said, إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرْ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. If something good happens, what is sarra? That's one word also that is important. Sarra is anything that brings you happiness. Sarra from surur. Surur means happiness. If you know Arabic, surur means happiness. So anything that brings you happiness, he said, what you do in that case, you thank Allah. So anything that happens in your life that is good, that you consider good, you passed the exam, you got a new game, you got some money, whatever it is, small or big, anything that makes you happy, anything that brings happiness to you, what do? What is the reaction of the believer? Shakar. You thank Allah, you are grateful, you are thankful. That is the best reaction in that situation. And he said, this is the best outcome. فَكَانَ خَيْرَ اللَّهِ. This is the best you can do. What about the opposite situation? وَإِذَا أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء. Darra is anything bad. Again, that's a word we need to remember. Darra is anything that is harmful, from darar or dur. So anything that is harmful and anything that is bad, if you're afflicted by it, the reaction in that case is sabr. You are patient. And patience, I know some people think patience is something weak. They think patience is kind of a weakness. Maybe you don't understand patience. Patience means you don't quit on yourself. Patience means you keep going. You don't stop. You don't let that thing stop you. That is patience. It's not like, oh, you cower down and You say, I'm not going to engage anymore. No, that's not patience. That's the opposite. Patience is you persevere. You keep going regardless. And you don't quit. So if you're faced by a hardship, a calamity, any difficulty, you have patience. You become patient and you exert patience. And that is, he said, that is the best outcome. فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. So again, the words we need to remember, sarra is anything that brings happiness. Shakar means you are thankful. You thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you are thankful. And then darra is the opposite, which means harm and hardship. And sabr is patience, or you show patience. You show patience. All right? So inshallah, let me wrap it up. I know sometimes it's easy to say it, right? It's easier said than done. I know that. And I know we're not gonna pass every test. And I know sometimes we're gonna struggle. So you try some patience, but it's really, really hard. But the point is, this is life. And we are flawed. As a human being, all of us, we are flawed. We're gonna make mistakes. But the point is, you keep trying. That's what I want you to, inshallah, to remember tonight. Don't ever quit on yourself. Like, think about it for a minute. Inshallah, I'm gonna have one halaqah about suicide, and I'll, inshallah, tackle the issue from many different angles. But one thing I wanna mention today is, one of the main reasons for suicide is the decision that people make that I cannot take it anymore. That I'm not willing to face life anymore. That it is too hard for me. That everything that happens around me is too much to process, too much to handle, too much to take in. And what we're saying tonight is, yes, it is hard, but once you're making that decision to pull through and be patient with it, and patience here means that you don't quit on yourself, that you keep going, even if it is hard, what's gonna happen, you're gonna see a lot of good after it. It's like, you're walking in this very, very dark tunnel. You barely can see anything. And then you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Some people will say, well, it's too dark. I'm just gonna sit and I can't walk anymore. It's just too tiring for me. It's too hard. But if you sit there and stay there, you're gonna be in darkness. If you keep walking, even slowly, but you keep walking, you don't quit, you don't stop, you don't sit, soon enough, you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the happiness you'll have when you see that light will make up for all of that, difficulty and hardship and sadness and whatever you've gone through. That light alone will just make you forget all the bad times, all right? And that's really what life is about at the end. It's like pulling through these hardships, one hardship or another, and then enjoying the triumph at the end. Like, this is really the biggest triumph. Triumph is not like, oh, I won the soccer game. No, it's winning these trials in life. When you're able to pull through it and see the light and, you made it, right? You are so happy. Even if no one celebrates you, you celebrate yourself for that victory. And these are the true victories in life. So I hope, inshallah, that we can do that. And like I said, we have many examples from our prophets. These are the role models because they show us how to deal with life, really. A role model is not someone who can sing or act or shoot a ball. Someone who can show us how to deal with difficult situations in life. He is a true role model. All right? So I'll end it here, inshallah, and we can open it for Q&A, for questions, and then we'll do the quiz. And obviously, during the Q&A, you're allowed to ask me any question that could come on the quiz. That's totally fine. So if you want to brush up on the verse or some keyword, you're allowed to do that, inshallah. Yes?
What's the ayah again?
Okay, sure. Let's repeat the ayah, because we said it in the beginning. So the ayah is, Inna Allah, so Allah, la yughayyiru, does not change. So yughayyir means change. He does not change ma biqawmin, the situation of some people حتى يغيروا until they change ما بأنفسهم. They change themselves or what's in themselves. So again, the principle is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah does not change people or does not change the situation of people until they decide to change themselves. So that is the principle of the ayah. Any other questions? Yes.
What's that ayah that you said that was when we said the action of the believer is shakar?
That's a hadith, not the ayah. Hadith. So again, let's repeat the hadith for everybody. عجبا لأمر المؤمن. What an amazing affair or thing the believer goes through. إن أمره كله له خير. Every matter that faces him is good for him. إذا أصابته سراء شكر. I know the hadith is a bit long, but at least remember the meaning in English, but also remember some of the keywords. إذا أصابته سراء. If something if anything that brings happiness to him happens, then he is thankful. Shakar. He thanks Allah. فكان خيرا له, and that is the best for him. وإذا أصابته ضراء صبر. And if he's faced by any harm, then he is patient. Sabr means patience. He exerts patience. And that is the best for him. Okay, so that is the hadith. Yes.
If you were to get half the question right, and somebody
That's a technical question, right?
and somebody answers the rest, would you still them?
Well, I'll be the judge of that. Depends on the question and how hard, but I'll make that decision on the spot. Any other questions? Any question about the topic? Is it clear? Do you have any questions about it, or was it all good? Oh, there, yes.
Does that kind of like step by step, like for example, sabr and then also like shakr, like is that for every single situation? Because obviously there are different types of trials that a person goes through in life. So like for financial, there might be something different step, or is it just a general?
That's a good question. So the question is, are there different reactions or steps depending on the situation? Because in life we're faced with so many types of trials. So is it the case that in every trial we have the same reaction? So at least in this hadith, we have the general reaction. But you know, and I think all of us know that even patience is different types. For example, if somebody came to me and insulted me, what kind of patience would I exert in that situation? Well, maybe patience in that case would be that I would not, kick him or punch him in the face. That is patience. Well, that patience is different than if I'm faced by a hardship, like I'm having a hard time, maybe I don't have a good job, or maybe my boss is, mistreating me. So that kind of patience is different. As I mentioned some examples, sometimes patience means that you don't quit. So that's another aspect. But I think the overwhelming idea, or the overall idea, I should say, is that patience is this idea of keeping at it and not quitting. That is the essence of patience. But in every situation, it could be manifested differently. Yes. So, for example, if we look at some definitions of patience, like at least the Muslim scholars, some of them define patience as حبس النفس عن التأوه. Like you restrain yourself from complaining. That's one definition they came up with, which is interesting. Because we look at us today, we're always whining and nagging all the time. So obviously we need to work on ourselves. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying we need to work on that area. If we're always whining for the smallest thing, like the food is not exactly right like you wanted, we keep whining. Like, the air conditioner in the house is not exactly the temperature you want because, well, maybe your parents, get colder faster than you, right? But no, you want that temperature like 74, or 70, however cold you want it. And your father is getting old, maybe he wants 78 or 80, right? It could be something small, but this, not willing to, take anything and you're always whining, complaining, that's, an aspect of impatience. All right, any other questions? Nothing? Oh, there, yes.
I have one question on the lottery example. So I know it's haram to, purchase a lottery ticket or participate.
I knew I was going to get that. I should not have mentioned the example. Go ahead.
But when you actually win the money or have paid money from illicit means in that sense, is it haram to spend it or donate it to charity, or do you get a sin every time you do?
Ooh, a sin every time you do. Let me give you a general answer. In situations where you end up with money that is, let's call it doubtful, let's not even call it haram. Let's say it's a doubtful source of money, like you're not sure even if it's haram or halal. And you get that money, the best way to basically deal with it is to spend it in ways of good, like any charity or anything like that. Now, some scholars, especially when it comes to like specific kind of money, lottery may not be a good example, but let's say it's like really, really haram money. I don't know, you stole it from someone and you cannot return it because whoever you stole it from, you cannot even access or you cannot get to. In those cases, they say you spend it on things that would dissolve or would perish. For example, they say you can buy soap for the masjid because soap will perish. I mean, you're not, for example, feeding someone with that money, so because you don't want that really bad, evil money to be consumed by anyone. But soap perishes, right? You can wash your hands and it's gone, right? I think that's an extreme situation. That's like a really extreme situation. But that's the one of the outlets if you're really feeling bad about the money and there's no way to give it back or anything like that, and that way you can just use it in perishable venues or stuff like that. But one thing about betting in general and lotteries, usually the idea is it should not look like gambling. Gambling is what is clearly haram. So gambling, obviously, there has to be two participating parties, right? And each one would pitch in some money, and then one will win the entire sum. So the lottery has that problem because it resembles that, except now you have a large pool of people, but everybody is pitching in, and only one person will win the entire sum. That's why it is problematic. But there is a similar situation which is not problematic. If, for example, and this happens sometimes, on a cereal box or any can, you open it and you win something. Now it's okay to take it because you've not put in any money. So it does not resemble gambling anymore. So that is the telling difference. If you initially intentionally participate, so you give some money and you expect to win something big, then it is gambling, right, in essence. But if not, if you don't, you didn't think about it, you just won something out of the blue, then it's fine. So that is the distinguishing. Anything else? All right.